Today we're going to have a quick introduction for William Faulkner's A Rose for Emily. So the story is considered Southern Gothic. It's a revival of Gothic Romanticism that had happened in the 19th century, but this particular movement of Southern Gothic began in the early 1930s. Now, Southern Gothic is a subgenre of Gothic fiction unique to American literature that takes place exclusively in the American South. The Southern Gothic style is one that employs the use of macabre or grotesque events and ironic events to examine the values in the American South. So when we look at the similarities and the differences about the particular Gothic genre, we have it resembling Gothic Romanticism as it relies on supernatural, ironic, or unusual events to guide the plot. It looks exactly what you might see in perhaps Edgar Allan Poe's 19th century stories. But what differs here is that it uses these tools not solely for the sake of suspense, but it also begins to explore the 20th century social issues and reveal the cultural character of the American South in the 20th century. So a couple of literary terms that we're going to use in our next video is going to be the stream of consciousness. There's a technique in writing in which the writer presents the character's thoughts and emotions, and it often does not tell the events logically or chronically. It's kind of written how people would think. When you remember, you have memories together, you're putting them together usually in the order of importance and perhaps not chronologically. We might also use the word foreshadowing, which indicates or dropping hints about something that will happen later in the story. And the point of view, you have some points where it sounds like we're in first-person point of view, but it actually is a limited third person. The narrator is someone outside of the immediate story who calls everyone by the name or as he, she, or they. It's going to stay within the confines of what is perceived, thought, or remembered by one single character who is not the main character. And so when we look at the timeline, the very first thing we get in the timeline is Miss Emily Grierson dying. And if you look at my timeline, it's actually at the end. So the rest of the story is going to start in on a flashback. We start going back to 1894, where we meet Emily's father. Colonel Sargeras is going to remit Emily's taxes. And in 1916, the tax delegation is going to come and visit Emily to ask why she hasn't been paying her taxes. So when we go back and learn about Emily's father and why she is the way she is, we jump back onto the timeline quite a bit. And so these first four pieces of information that we have in the first part of the story, they've jumped all over the timeline for us. And so as we continue getting into the different parts of the story, and we'll go through it in more detail in my next video essay, you can see that we're not quite staying in order of the sequence of events in the timeline. Well, thank you so much for stopping by for this quick introduction. Again, if you would like to see more about A Rose for Emily by William Faulkner, please continue looking at my channel. My channel has got lots of information about William Faulkner, and as usual, I'd appreciate it if you subscribed.